your dream. Regardless of what obstacles in your way, you have to realize that you are in control of your own destiny. And if you choose to make your destiny go off course in a direction that's not conducive to being successful, then that is your choice. You're about to be adults on the 25th of May. And from today and on the 25th, things are going to be drastically different. And you got to ask yourself, am I ready for the challenges that I'm going to be faced with? Today we're going to talk about money. And we want to talk about things from a macro perspective, and we'll bring it down a little bit to where, it's in the micro area. But you need to start thinking about it. If your mindset is, well, I don't need money, well, you're probably not really true to yourself. Because money makes the world go around. That's the key to almost everything there is. So as you all can read, I spent 24 years in the Air Force, and my purpose and my duty now is to come back and to give back and to try and get people inspired to understand that you can live your dream. But you have to be disciplined in order to make things work. You can't just go out and think that, well, if I do this, there are no consequences. There are consequences to everything you do. Some are small and some are huge. It just matters. So we begin with, on the day you're born, you are destined to be great. But along the way, we make choices sometimes, and those choices don't line up with being great. You make a choice that's, for instance, if you have a baby. And I'm not trying to curse anybody, but if you do, now you have to readjust everything in your life so that you can still become that awesome person that you are destined to be, but you also got to start putting awesome knowledge into the baby and having that challenge on your hands. So it's a lot of things that you need to understand that you can overcome in life. It takes grit and determination to overcome it. And if you are going to continue and just say, oh my gosh, I can't do it, I can't do it. If you say you can't do it, you can't do it. You got to have a mentality that nothing is going to beat me. Nothing is going to prevent me from achieving the goals that I've set for myself. You got to have that determination deep within you, and you got to be a fighter. Because life's going to come at you, and a lot of things are going to happen. Everything you're planning to do right now may be a distant memory on the 25th, because something happened along the way that shook you up. And you got to regain your composure and get started again. Some of you have some really lofty dreams in here. And you need to understand that you got to stay focused. Friends, family, anybody who's going to get in your way of achieving your dream, you got to shut them off and push them to the side. Some of you think that all I got to worry about is just going to school and doing this and doing that. But as an adult, there's a lot of things that you're going to be faced with. And I just wanted to show you this. Someday you're going to have a family. You got to worry about that. Someday you might be unhealthy, or you might have to worry about just general health and along the way. The general health is I'm going to work out, I'm going to eat right, I'm going to do these things, or you just don't worry about it. But health is another concern. Education. Do I go to college? Or if I go to college, what if things get tough? What do I do when things get tough? Do I quit, or do I just hunker down and keep going? My recommendation is you just stick to it, because eventually you will weather the storm, and on the other side, that's where your blessing lies. But if you quit and you keep quitting everything you do, then you're going to always be a quitter. So right now it's important you learn how to stick to it. Education is very important. Your career. What's going to be your career? Do I just go get a job after I finish school? Or do I work toward getting a career where I might travel the whole United States or the world from a business perspective? Or do I just want to stay here in Autaugaville and just work? Those are choices you have to make. And if you don't make the choice, life will make the choice for you. So it's so important that you are proactive in making those decisions versus reacting to what life throws at you. Being proactive, you get the education to get the career you want, and then you can make the money you want so your financial situation is in a good stage. You got to worry about your spiritual life, recreation, social, all that stuff is what adults have to worry about. And all this stuff is important. There's no one on here that's more important than the other. So anytime that your life is out of balance and you only have one of this whole chart, then you're going to be unhappy. It's important that you understand that a lot of things are going to be, a lot of responsibilities are going to be on your shoulder. How are you going to deal with it? So, we look here, the secret of millionaire's mind. You guys don't have this, but I just found it, so I thought I'd put it up here. But this is how people think. This is how people think when we're thinking, like, I want to become a wealthy person, I want to be successful, or I'm going to give up. Millionaires think big. Poor people think small. Millionaires focus on opportunity. Poor people focus on obstacles. What are my obstacles? Oh, I can't do it. Nobody's overcome this. You got to at least try. Millionaires admire other rich and successful people. Poor people resent the rich and successful people. And you can read the rest yourself, but there's just a general mindset coming. If you read this and understand it, a general mindset is when you think from a rich person, opportunities, he's looking for opportunities. A poor person, they may not be looking for anything. They're just kind of hanging out for the day. They're just living. They don't have a purpose. You got to get yourself a purpose, you got to get yourself a dream, and you got to stick with it. So once you get your dream, and as I stated, you got to think big. You don't think, well, I just want to finish high school, I just want to get a job, and I just want to work. You have just relegated your life to making $8, $9 an hour, $320 a week, $400 a week. That's what you've relegated yourself to. Sacrifice a little bit right now and think about what you want to do. If you want to go to school, go to college. Because as you'll see later, your wages are way different and much higher if you decide to go to college and stick with it for that 4 years. Once you have your dream is your big dream in the sky, and now you set your goals one by one. I got to finish my first 3 months in college. I got to finish my first year. I got to finish my first 2 years. You set your goals small so that you can have some achievements along the way. But everything you do and all your thought process needs to be on your big goal. What's my big dream in life? You know, if you want to become a millionaire, then you got to start thinking like a millionaire down here before you can get up here. How are you ever going to become a millionaire? By doing stuff that's in the poor people category. You got to start lifting your thoughts and dreaming and becoming a person who's in the moment, in your life, in your dreams, everything about you. People know when they see you and when they feel your vibes coming off of you, they know that you're a person who's going somewhere. And if you got to know and understand that.
Ms. Barnes?
Yes.
Yes, excuse this interruption. I have a student here that's asking about the March of Dawn funds that was being collected.
Yes.
And a student wants to know that you've already collect from all students.
No, I haven't. They can bring it on.
Okay, they can bring it just to you?
Yes.
Okay, all right, thank you.
You're welcome.
The next one is becoming a person that thinks. We're in a society, back in the old days, in my time, if you wanted to go somewhere, you needed a map. You looked at the map, you traced out your route, and then you figured out how you were going to get there. Nowadays, all you do is put it in your GPS, put the address, and just listen to them tell you what to do. The big difference. So my thing is, now we're not even required to think. We're required, everything is given to us. They give us the direction, they tell us to do this, they tell us to do this. But if you become a person who wants to be told everything you need to do, you're going to become a person who's going to follow. You need to lead the way. You need to become a leader, and a leader will be out front regardless of what anybody says. A leader is going to do what he's supposed to do, and he knows it's right, and he knows it's going to be successful for it. That's what a leader does. If you want to follow, you follow, but you're not going to be the person that's going to become a person who reached your dreams because you're following someone else. I was listening to a thing on the radio, and they were talking about smokers. It's like everybody who's a smoker is a follower because somebody you wanted to hang out with and be cool like gave you a cigarette and you decided you wanted to smoke. But it wasn't what you wanted to do. You just followed other people. You got to be a leader. If you don't want to smoke, say no and don't do it. But there was this video I listened to. It's called The Strangest Secret in the World by Earl Nightingale. And what Earl Nightingale did, he went and surveyed 100 men at 25 years old, and he wanted to see why was there such disparity between the ones who were rich and the people who didn't have anything. So when the 25-year-olds turned 65, one was rich, 5 were financially set, 4 were financially set, and 5 were still working, and 54 people depended on someone else to take care of their needs. Why is that? It's because they conformed to what other people expected of them. They didn't lead the way and do what they knew they were destined to do. They did what everybody else thought they should do. If you follow your friend decides, hey, I don't want to go to college. That's too much for me. You decide, I don't want to go to college. You just relegated yourself to a lower income for the rest of your life. It's important to have these fundamental things within you so that you can become successful in any environment, in any situation that's posed at you. But if you're not a thinking person, you got to always be told what to do, then you get what's left over. Because the leaders will already have gone through and gotten what they wanted and been done with, and you get the leftovers. You guys, you have any questions? No?
No, sir.
Y'all sitting down? Okay, well, if y'all have questions, raise your hand. Now, the benefits of education. As I stated earlier, if you dropped out of school, and you guys are all going to graduate, but if you dropped out of school, you can expect to make $492 a week, $25,000 a year. That's the average over the United States from the Bureau of Labor Statistics. But if you look at it realistically, if you didn't finish school, you'll be lucky to make $8 an hour, $320 a week, a whole lot less than that. To you all, because you've never had responsibilities yet, this is a lot of money. But to me, that's nothing, because I know what bills I have, and I know what it costs to take care of a kid, send a kid to college and all that stuff. $25,000 is just college tuition. Now, if you was a high school graduate, no college, you can expect to make $666 a week, or $34,000 a year. You got some college or an associate degree, $757 a week, or $39,000 a year. If you get a bachelor's degree, you got $1,098 a week, $57,000 a year, and an advanced degree, $1,377 a week. So let me sum it up for you. You sacrificed 4 years to go to college, get your degree, and end up in the bottom category making $71,000 a year. That's where you want to be. How can you do any kind of investments if you don't make any money? You know, if you make $25,000 a year and you have 2 or 3 kids, you know, life's going to be pretty tough. You know, so you think, and the key to your success is to have a plan. Everything you do needs to be fitting within your plan. What is my plan? What is my goal? What are my dreams? Everything you do needs to fit within those plans, because if it doesn't, then you can be persuaded to do anything. When you have plans, when you have a dream, nobody can push you around and persuade you to do things that you know aren't right for the category that you're trying to follow, for the direction that you're trying to go in your life. You know, I looked up the average wages here in Autaugaville. I think it was like $22,000. The average wage here in Autaugaville. You know, and I commend people for working hard, but I'm going to tell you the secret. When I left Autaugaville and went into the Air Force, my mentality was, you're not working unless you get dirty. But I soon realized that the people who don't get dirty make the most money. Mm-hmm. So what category do you want to be in? And if you want to make the most money, what criteria do you need to meet in order to get to that position? Because you like me, because I have a good smile, and all that does not matter. Do you have the credentials, the education to start with? How's your personality? How do you get along with people? Can you lead people? Or do everybody you meet, there's a fight that turns out because your attitude stinks. You got to be a leader of people. When you're a leader of people, you don't judge them. You take them as they are, and if you don't like what they are, then you try to subtly change it. You don't tell them that, hey, you stink, because you got to remember, all of us come from different homes. All of us have different experiences, and our life experiences will dictate who we are. And you accept people for who they are, and what you don't like, then you try and massage it, or you just deal with it. It's a big pill to swallow, but yes, sir.
I got a question about the Air Force.
Uh-huh.
You say you get 24 years in the Air Force. Can you cause if I go to school to become a lawyer, and I go to law school, so is that basically like having 2 degrees, like I'm a lawyer regularly, but I'm still a soldier in the Air Force?
We're airmen, not soldiers.
Oh yeah, you're right. I'm sorry. Airman.
No, you will be a lawyer in the Air Force. You're a lawyer all the time in the Air Force. That's your job.
Okay.
Yeah, it's not.
But I still go to school, like any school I want, or a certain school.
It depends. You want to go to ROTC, you have to go to a school that has ROTC. And the Air Force may pay for your education if they really need lawyers, and your GPA and all that stuff works out. You know.
So he'll be part of what they call JAG?
Yes.
What is?
So, yes, sir.
What is JAG?
Judge Advocate General.
Okay.
That's the Air Force.
All right. So, all right. I got a question. So, what you just said about that, if they need lawyers, they'll pay for it. So, they won't pay for it if they don't really need lawyers?
Yeah, it depends. Like I said, usually if they don't have space for that type of officer, they won't bring them in. Every year is a different quota based on who's retired, who's getting out, what positions open up. Yeah,
okay.
But you can still come in general sometimes and do another job. It's not law, but if you go to school to become a lawyer, you know, for instance, my wife went to school to be an engineer, but she didn't come in the Air Force as an engineer. She eventually switched over to be an engineer, but she didn't come in as an engineer, as a resource officer or something she came in as. So, but back to this. Now, you hear a lot of people say, and as I stated earlier, the average wage here is $22,000. So what people don't understand is that if you don't like what you're doing and what you're making, the only way you can change that is to make yourself better. Create more value in yourself. You go to work and you work 40, 50 hours a week and you complain, but you don't sit down in the afternoon and read books and get more knowledge so that you can become better, or go to night school or go to school online. You do nothing but complain and watch TV. If you want to be better, and if you want to make that $1 million a year, then you got to get that $1 million a year work ethic and attitude. Nobody's going to give it to you. You got to go out there and get it. That is the moral of the story is, if you want it, you got to go get it. Complaining about it and having a good topic with your friends doesn't do any good. You have to go get it. And you got to have a mentality that nobody's going to stop me. Nobody's going to stop me, because So often people say, you can't do that. Oh, gosh, I sure can. I realize it now. No. You tell me I can't do it, and I knew when I was in the Air Force, they said, you can't get promoted. I'm like, watch me. You don't know my study habits. You don't know the dedication I have. You don't know that I'm going to study 3-4 hours a day for 3 months straight, 6 days a week, in order to make sure that when I go in there and take that test for a promotion, that I'm going to knock it out the park. It won't be my fault if I don't get promoted. And that's the attitude you got. Against all odds, you do what you do. You make yourself better. If you don't make yourself better, then you're going to get paid what you deserve. A lot of people think, well, I deserve more. Everybody thinks they deserve more. But if I can bring you in at $8 an hour, I'm going to bring you in at $8 an hour because what? You don't have options. You don't have options. You're uneducated and you're unskilled. How many people do you know are uneducated and unskilled? Millions. So you go get the job you can get. Now, if you get the education you need and have the skill set, now you're in demand. If you're a computer programmer and people want computer programmers, now you go in and negotiate your salary, you negotiate your vacation days, you negotiate everything. You're over here, you have no skills, no education. Come on in, I got $8 for you. I deserve more. I don't care what you think you deserve because I got a whole lot of people outside that qualify for this job. I can train them to do it and I can put them to work. You are going to cheat yourself if you leave here and do not aspire to get some kind of skill set or education so that you can go higher. You are going to cheat yourself, and I promise you, you will regret it. You have a list there so that you can look. These are the jobs that are available between now and 2024. You look on this list, and this is not a complete list. I just took the top 20. But you look on this list, you figure out what job you want, what education is needed, and how much money do you want to make. So if you figure out how much money you want to make and what job you want, then there's the education part. The mentality of, I'm just going to go get a job and I'm just going to go to work, that's what everybody does. And no average wages of $22,000. That's not getting them where they truly desire to be. So you have to do something different. And you have to make your mind up right now, not the day you graduate, right now, what you're going to do. If you're in between what you think you want to do, pick one. Because our life expectancy is 70 years old, 79, 80 years old. So you got 60 years. If you don't like what you decide to do right now, you switch it. Go to school again. But you got to start. Make a decision. And that's the biggest thing that you guys need to understand is you got to be decisive. I want to do this, and this is how I'm going to do it, and you stick to it until there is no way that you see that you're going to be able to make it. That is the only time you switch. You don't just keep switching back and forth. You stay focused on one thing and one thing at a time. Concentrated focus. You want to have your focus just like this little red dot here. Just focus, focus, focus on what you're going to achieve. And I'm going to tell you, because people don't understand your true destiny, people are going to try and knock you off your game. Be careful with the friends. Be careful with the family members. If somebody working a job and you're trying to get a professional career started and they're trying to give you advice, my advice to you is to find you a mentor who's in the field that you want to go in, and that's who you listen to for professional advice. Because the average person will not know what they're talking about. And you're going to listen to them. Be careful who you listen to. Now, the blue-collar job, HVAC, electrician, computer, technology, a lot of different blue-collar jobs, you make good money. Now, you can make $30,000, $40,000 a year in these jobs. Now, the important thing to remember is that if you become a plumber and you're good at it and you start to get some business sense about you, then you start your own business. You don't have to necessarily work for someone all the time. You start your own business, you have your own customers, and you know how to treat customers. You're a leader, and you know how to lead. Then you start hiring people, and your business grows, and it keeps growing. You got a multi-million-dollar operation now. These are the possibilities. You don't just have to go work. The thing that you got to remember, I want earned income, I want income from investments, and maybe I want income from business. I got 3 different incomes. And eventually the investments in the business, you don't have to work anymore for earned income. That should be what you're trying to achieve. If you just focus on working for someone else your entire life, you get what you get. Because most of the time, you're not going to become a rich person working for someone else. That's a good start for you to get your savings padded so that you can have your thoughts together, and then you can go out and start your own business. Now, laws of wealth. He that wishes to be greatest must find a way to serve the many. That's from the Bible. Our rewards in life will always be in exact proportion to our contribution, our service. And the bottom line, if you help enough people to get what they want, you can get everything you want. The key here is to find a way to serve the many. My vision for doing this is to someday to be on stage and have 20,000 people out there. That's my vision. That's my dream. Will it happen? I believe it will. I know that if it doesn't happen, I'm going to die trying. I can't get discouraged. I can't get discouraged when I don't think I'm making a difference, when I don't think that people are listening. I just got to keep going and keep doing what I do. But if you figure out how to invent something that you can sell to millions of people, you can live your dream. But how do you serve as many people as possible with what you want to do? And that's what you got to figure out. That is the key to your success. How can I serve as many people as possible? So, definitions here from Rich Dad, Poor Dad. Asset pays you money. Liability costs you money. Earned income is money you work for. Passive income is money, your money working for you. And cash flow is the money left over after all the bills are paid. Now here's an illustration. And you guys already seen this. But we have a Camaro and we have a house, a duplex here. Which one would you choose?
House.
House. But if this was a real life scenario, you had enough money to go get that Camaro, would you go get it?
I get it, but it's a liability.
It's a liability, that's correct. So here are the numbers on that. If you choose to buy the duplex, so if the duplex costs $48,000, monthly payment of $550, monthly rent of $1,550, total monthly is $1,000 that you're going to make on this duplex. Passive income. Remember, asset pays you money. Passive income is the money you get for your money working for you. Your objective when you graduate, if you start thinking, I have to buy assets. Asset can be a business, asset can be rental property, asset can be investments, mutual funds and stocks. But that's your money working for you. If you focused on assets for the next 10 years, you will not have to work another day in your life. If you focused on assets. Now the car, it's going to cost you $43,000, monthly payments $550, insurance probably $300-400, and a monthly cost of $650. Now you're spending $7,000 on a car every year because you want to look good so that your friends can talk about you and how cool you are and how fortunate you are. What's the other reason? You can get a 1992 Ford Taurus and go from point A to point B. You don't need a 2017 Camaro. But you're going to get the Camaro, and it's going to cost you this. And because you don't have a plan, now you can't even afford to put gas in it because the car payment and insurance taking all your $492 or $320, whichever one it is. So it sickens me when you talk to a young person, well, what are you going to do with your money? Oh, I'm going to buy me a new car. Invest your money. If you start investing early, you finish early. If you start late, it's hard to catch up. So when you start looking at this, and if you guys think that I'm just up here talking that this is not real, this is an actual duplex that I own in Mississippi. It's 2 3-bedroom, 2-bath apartments in there.
Oh, you renting it out?
Yes, I have quite a few of them. So.
Yes.
But this is what you can do. This is why I have an option now. I can work or I don't want to work. I can't see real good now, so I can't work. But the option was there even before my surgery and accident because I have passive income coming in. I didn't just depend on earned income. I depended on the passive income from investments in mutual funds and stocks, and also the passive income from the real estate. 3 different ways. If I lost my earned income, what would I do? I wouldn't miss a beat because I got money coming in still.
What was that?
When we focus on one thing and one thing only, and most of us have grown up and we only want to go to work. We don't worry about the other stuff. When you only worry about going to work, then that's when you have an issue. When you get laid off, what do? You struggle because you're not ready. Now, the habit of saving. You need to create that habit of saving early on. Most of us grow up, and all we know how to do is spend. The sneakers and all the nice clothes. All these things that we want, that we think are important to impress our friends. But in the grand scheme of things, when you peel the onion back, it really doesn't mean anything when you have no substance to you. You have not saved any money. The debt has paralyzed you. Creditors are calling you. Everybody wants a piece of you. And I'm telling you right now, when you leave here, people don't care about your feelings. They care about your money. And that's all they care about. If you can't pay, I don't like you anymore. If you, for y'all young men, if you can't take me out to dinner and treat me nice, what I need to do with you? And I was talking to my son, and he's going to college down in South Alabama. And I'm like, well, you found a date yet? He's been there going on 4 years now. He's like, Dad, these women want me to spend all my money, and I'm a poor college student. I can't afford it. So that's what you're going to encounter. You got to make a decision. Well, I can't go out if you have these unreasonable expectations of me. And that's what a lot of decisions you're going to make is going to be tough for you. But if you have to make those decisions because you have a vision, you know where you're going, and nothing's going to knock you off course. You got to be serious about your dreams and your goals and what you're trying to do. If you get a bunch of debt, now your credit is bad. And when you buy assets, you buy the duplexes or houses, whatever it is you want to do business, your credit's going to be very important. If you ruin your credit because you don't know, then you can't leverage your credit to buy a property for $40,000 and you put $2,000 or $3,000 into it. And now it's yours. So it's important that you understand you got to control your emotions. Emotional intelligence is very important for you guys. Up until this point, it's all about, I got to look this way, I got to feel this way. But when you start spending your own money on stuff, your emotions no longer become a factor. Now it's about, can I afford this? And you need to think about that right now. Can I afford this? Do I want to do this? Before you go out and do something on impulse. When you have an impulse buy, typically it's not going to go very well. And you guys are still young, so you know when your parents buy you something on Christmas, you're all excited, and then the next day, you don't ever play with it again. Because you weren't interested. It was just exciting to open a present. So that's the way it is in real life. You're all excited because this is the moment, I'm in the moment, and then tomorrow, the thrill is gone. There's no excitement. Whatever you buy or whoever you go out with, whatever the case may be. Now, another thing I wanted to tell you guys is for every 1,000 physically lazy person, for every one lazy person, there is 1,000 who are mentally lazy. Think about that. How many people do you know who have a lifelong education process? Which means you read, you're intellectually curious, and you go to seminars, you do all these things so that your life still becomes relevant. If you think that you're going to leave this school and I never have to read another day in my life, you won't be very prosperous because things are changing and you have to keep up. You have to keep yourself motivated, inspired, and full of enthusiasm. You got to keep reading about what you want to specialize in. You got to become the master. Nobody should be better than you at whatever craft you choose. And that requires you to do a lot of studying. That requires you to take the next step in life where you are the head person who everybody goes to for answers. You want to become that person. Not just, oh, I got a job. You go to a job, you give them 10 times more than what they expect of you. And guess what? If you do that, the next promotion, you'll get it. Because people are watching. The bosses are watching. The bosses know everything that goes on when you think they don't. But you get a feel for people, and so you got to be intellectually curious about a lot of things. Not just want to be told everything to do. If you got to be told, and I'll say this again, you're going to get way behind. Now, if you want to become a millionaire by the time you retire, you start at the age of 20 saving $2 a day, $61 a month, $730 a year. The earlier you start, the better off you're going to be. You have to make it up in your mind that I'm going to pay myself first. You have to, because if you don't pay yourself first and you create all this debt, now all your money is going out and you have nothing to save, and now you're 40 wondering what am I going to do because I just lost my job and I have no savings, I have nothing. Do not live a life on the edge. Live a life of comfort and convenience. When you live a life of comfort and convenience, you will have an emergency fund there. An emergency fund means for all the bills you got, if your bills equal $300 a month, then you need to have 6 months saved up. $1,800, $18,000, y'all, for 6 months. So you need to have all that money saved up, sitting in a bank account, just waiting for an emergency to happen. What happens to a lot of people, they can't visualize what might happen. They go day by day, minute by minute, moment by moment. When you visualize that I could possibly need money for my kids' school, or Christmas is coming up, what am I going to do? You have to plan for all that stuff and have an emergency fund. When the child gets sick, you don't have to go around trying to get money to take them to the hospital. You got the money in your emergency fund. You go tap your emergency fund. You take care of the situation, replenish it, and move on. If you don't do that, then you will suffer the consequences with stress and anxiety because you don't know how you're going to take care of your family or take care of your business. So make sure you keep that money saved up. So we're going to talk about mutual funds now.
We got a lot of time.
You're good.
Is that 3:30?
That clock is completely wrong.
Okay.
It's like 2:29. You're
Okay.
good.
All right. Do y'all have any questions? Concerns? Y'all tracking everything I'm saying?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
When we get to the investing part, I'm not saying.
Okay. So I had a friend of mine. He texted me yesterday, He's like, what's going on with General Electric? I'm like, okay. He always talked to me about football. So I'm like, well, he must be talking about Georgia because all the beat. But then he calls me yesterday. He's like, why didn't you answer my question? What's going on with GE? Their stock is just falling through the bottom. You know, I'm like, I need to start looking at it, you know. But these are things that you need to have conversations with people. When you figure out what lane you want to be in and you're coming over here talking to me about something crazy, I don't want to talk to you anymore because I'm focused on building wealth. In building wealth, I need to figure out how I'm going to start a business. I need to figure out how I'm going to serve the many. You don't build wealth by having people come in to put crap in your mind to confuse you when you have a detailed list of where you want to go. So be careful about that. Mutual funds. A mutual fund is an investment vehicle. And the way it is, I'm going to try and simplify it, but if you think of a mutual fund being here, this is where you put your money, in the mutual fund. The mutual fund has an investment advisor that takes your money and he invests it in companies. So what a mutual fund does is they have, say, 15, 20 companies they invest. And you send your $100 in, and they'll spread your money out. Whatever percentage that they own of those companies, whatever percentage that are in the portfolio is how they're going to distribute your money to each company. That's mutual fund in a nut. Yes, sir.
Where would you go to start a mutual fund?
We'll get to that in a minute. So if I don't, remind me. But the mutual fund, the really good thing about a mutual fund is you don't have to be filthy rich. Before the mutual fund, you had to be rich in order to invest. Now the everyday common man can invest in a mutual fund. And as I stated before, if you start early, putting in $20, $30, and you just keep that up for the next 40 years, you don't have to worry about things anymore because your money will be working for you. And that's the mentality we need to shift. Instead of working for our money, we want our money to work for us. Whether it's in a business, rental property, or in the stocks of mutual funds, we want our money to work for us. And that requires us to have discipline. Discipline. If you say, I got $100 and I'm going to invest $100, you invest that $100. Because if you go on the internet and do a future value calculator, you say, I'm going to put $100 in here, and I expect to get 8% interest over the course of 40 years, you'll see how much your money is going to be worth. Now, the greatest asset you all have is that you're young. You're young. And the way compounding interest work is every year, every quarter, however your mutual fund or investment does this, but they will give you dividends. Dividends is when you invest in a company, the company pays all their bills, and what's left over, they're distributed to the shareholders. And you become a shareholder when you buy a mutual fund or stock. You own a part of the company. So, the way it works is you start off with $20. Here's a good representation. If you start off putting $100 in, that'll be $1,200 a year. By the end of the year, if you get 10% interest, you get $120. So you take that $120 and add it to that $1,200, and you put another $1,200 in. Now you got $3,200, $1,320, plus that $1,200 is $2,522. Excuse me, $2,520. So now you add 10% to that. Now you're getting what, $200-something, $250. So the way it works, and I don't know if I explained it good enough to you. The way it works is, as your money roll over, it's like a snowball coming down a hill. It gets bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger. As your dividends go back in, and it keeps increasing, and you get interest on what you put in plus the dividends, it just grows and grows and grows. And the magic to this is over a period of time, as I stated, it gets bigger and bigger and bigger. The longer you keep it in, the more it's going to earn and the more you're going to make in passive income. Once again, passive income is what we're looking for. We don't want to work for our money. We don't want to work for our money. If we work for our money, we're only working so that we can buy assets, so that we can get passive income, eventually not have to work again. That's the objective. Y'all tracking me?
Yes, sir.
You tracking me? Okay. So, this illustration here, if we put $1,200 a year in there for, 4 years, 5 years, we put in $6,000. So at the end of the day, you will have gained $2,058. After that time frame with interest and your dividends rolling in, that's the compounding effect over time. So if you can imagine, while people are working hard, your money is working for you. You just gained $2,000 because you were disciplined. You're not smarter than anybody else. You just chose to do this and you chose to stick with it. While everybody else, life is chaotic, going crazy, you deliberately do what you're going to do so that you can live the life that you want to live and your kids can live the life that you want them to live. You can't live the life you want to live by being chaotic and living paycheck to paycheck. You live the life you want to live by stepping outside your comfort zone and not being afraid, not allowing fear to control everything you do. When you are so afraid to lose your money, then you will never invest. Sometimes you lose a little and make a lot later. So there was an instance where I was so excited I'm going to become a millionaire off of this stock and I'm going to do all this, and the bottom dropped out and I lost $20,000. Was I sick? Yes. But I recovered. I figured in my mind that there's no way that I will live the life that I want to live without investing in stocks and mutual funds. So I had to get back on the horse and start riding it again. But this time, I took emotions out and looked at it from a realistic perspective. And when I had my criteria, when it goes up to this point, I'm just going to sell it, you know. I'm not going to sit there and let it drop out again and lose my money. So you figure out, and once you're investing, you'll see how things start working. And you do your homework, do your due diligence, but you'll see how things work, and you'll see something on TV about GE, and then you'll see their stock start falling. Because that's the crowd mentality. The way you have to be when it comes to investing, when everybody else is saying do this, you're a leader. You come over here and you do this. You do just the opposite. When the market is high and everybody is talking about it, investing, stay away from it.
Stay away.
Stay away.
No.
When things aren't going so well, and the companies are still good,
buy it.
but it's just people in the crowd mentality. When people start thinking a certain way, everybody thinks the same way. Everybody does the same thing. And you have to be opposite of that person. You have to be your own individual. Now, when I decided that I wanted to do real estate, I was looking around, and the prices were too high. And all of a sudden, the bottom fell out of the real estate market. Just handed me properties. That duplex I showed you was $200,000, and I got it for $48,000. Nothing wrong with it. Just change out the flooring, paint it a little bit, and rent it out. Those are the opportunities that are presented to you when you are disciplined, you know what you want. When you know what you want, things just start popping up. When you're not clear on who you are, what you want, and how you're going to do it, you never see it. Because opportunities are passing you by. I guarantee all of you said, oh, there's no investments here in Autaugaville. There's nothing. And there's people investing left and right here, making all kinds of money while we're sitting here passing right by it every day. That's what happens when we're not really focused on who we are and what we want to do. Dividends, as I told you before, dividends is when the company pays all the bills, then the rest of the money, they divvy it out between all the shareholders. capital gains and losses. Anytime you buy an asset, whether it's a mutual fund, stocks, or rental property or business, what you bought it for and what you sold it for. If you sell it within a year, it's called short term. You either gain money or you lose. Short-term capital gain or short-term capital loss. We want to be in the gain category, so if you buy right, you sell right. As I stated, when you buy when everything is depressed because you're an individual focused on you, believe in yourself, and listen to nobody else but the experts, and then when it's time to sell, when all these people got fever, I want to be an investor, I got to put my money in here, I got to buy something, and you sell it, why do you think these companies, startup companies, get sold for billions of dollars? Because they were leaders. They were visionaries. They knew what they wanted. They did it, and all of a sudden, somebody wants to buy it for $2 billion, and they sell it. Now they live there. They can do whatever they want to do now. Why can't you do that? Why can't you do that? Why can't someone from Autaugaville do that? You got to think big. When we think like this, and we think about what everybody else is thinking about me, and we think about everything but the vision we have for our life and the big dreams we have, then we can't be that person and have a startup, that person who's selling it for $2 billion, because we're not focused on creating anything. We got to focus. You guys are young. You're getting ready to have the greatest opportunity of your life. But you got to be thinkers, and you got to take advantage of the opportunities that are presented to you, and all you got to do is act. Don't allow fear to keep you where you are. Sometimes when you're afraid to do something, you go do it anyway. You go do it because usually it's not as bad as you think it is. Automatic investing. We talked about this a little bit, but automatic investing is if I say that I can save $100 a month, and I use that $100 and I put money in the mutual fund. So with that $100, each month I'm going to put $100 in the mutual fund. Now the first month, the mutual fund, everybody, as I told you, is excited. Everybody's buying this mutual fund, so it's $20 a share because the stock prices are high. The next month, I put my $100 in there, still $20. March, it dips down $2. So whenever the price comes down, you see I bought 5 shares here, 5 here, now I can buy 5.5. Don't seem like much, but over a period of time, that adds up. And I keep going all the way until December, putting that $100 in there. But as you can see, the prices vary based on the market. The prices here, 16, 22, 21, 17, and finally we're down to $10. In $10, I can buy 10 shares. But while we're consistent with our $100, and things are fluctuating here based on and affecting how many shares I get, because I'm consistent, I'm going to be rewarded. I'm going to be rewarded with, I invested, how much did I invest? I invested $1,200. And so when I go to cash this out, I'm going to sell it for $1,770. I've earned $570. Now some of you probably think this is impossible. But I wouldn't be telling you this stuff unless I've had the experience. I remember I bought Southwest Airlines. I think the stock was $12 a share.
Oh.
And I was like, okay, it's a good deal. I held it. I think I held it for 2 years. And it went up to it was like $50 a share. Who knows? Got like $50,000 because I was disciplined and I left my money there. I left the money there. And these are the choices you have to make. Remember.
Good afternoon, Eagles, to the faculty, staff, students, and any visitors we may have in the building at this time. This is Mrs. Allen
But
with your
remember-
afternoon announcement.
You all have a choice. You leave
We
here
want to say congratulations.
and you're
to
like,
you at the class
I'm
for donating the
interested
most
in
money
stocks,
to
and you
the
go and start
March of Dimes
studying, and
thus
then you go and
far.
start
The
investing.
other classes you have
Then
until
by 2 years,
Thursday
you're an
to
expert.
make a comeback.
You
The
go
class
and you
that
say,
raises
after
the
I
most
master
money will
this,
get a
I want to
pizza
get a
party, and
business in
remember,
real estate. You
Your
got money
donations
invested,
are
and now you go
to a
research
worthy
real
cause,
estate
and that is to
because you're
come
looking
out
for opportunities.
premature birth.
Opportunities are going to present themselves. Now you start in real estate.
Hopefully, the 5th and 6th grade students that went on that
Every
field trip
2,
today
3
had an
years,
awesome time.
you should be
We really
changing.
hope that you enjoyed it.
Because you've mastered this, now you need to go master something else, then you need to go master something else. That's what life's all about. You gotta stay relevant.
That missed the ROTC
If
or
you
the ATC
don't
bus
stay
in the
relevant,
morning,
you become
please
obsolete
report to the
in
office.
this
Do
environment.
not go to teachers'
When you become
classroom.
obsolete, nobody cares what you say. Nobody cares because you ain't got no money and you probably ain't got no sense. So why should they care?
Okay, our sentence.
If you
Well, before we
want
get
to
to
be
the sentence,
relevant, you gotta stay
the
current.
Autaugaville Lady Eagles softball team is sponsoring a 20-ounce drink fundraiser. Pepsi products are being sold at $24 per case. And this will start it, or should I say had already started, on the 7th of November. It's going to go through Friday, the 8th of December. We're asking all personnel who are participating to ensure that your money for the products are turned in no later than 12:30 p.m. on Friday,
It'll like
the 8th of December. The pickup date for your products will be the 14th of December.
you put $100 in, they give you 10%.
Also, personnel, we thank those
Next
who
year.
brought
You
money
put that 110
for the donuts.
and add another 100. So
Your
that'd be
donuts
two-
should be
so they
arriving
give
back
you
on
210, yeah.
tomorrow. Ms.
They get
Carol
back
will
to you.
take care
So
of
that'd
that.
be 210.
And
Then
we
you had
say
$21
thank
that
you.
they just gave you.
All right.
So that'd be like
So
that'd be
Teachers and students yearbook ads
two
are now on sale.
31 that you just
Parents, teachers, or businesses
Then you got
can
another one.
advertise a message for a
You put it
reasonable
in,
fee.
yeah.
If you have any
Or
questions,
20.
please see
Like
Ms.
start off small.
Hazeltine
20.
or Ms. Love.
That's a rule. They should at least just focus. Yeah, from the paper.
I'm trying to come off the
So
front
it-
page,
to summarize,
Our word for the week is dingy. That's D-I-N-G-Y, means dirty,
This was
spoiled,
Allen.
shabby.
okay.
The basement was damp and dingy.
I don't know what's over her, dude.
This
Dingy
concludes our
and
announcements
Yes.
for today. We hope each and every one of you have a great evening, and we
She
look
talks
forward
so
to seeing
slow.
you back here in the morning. And as always, remember, Go Eagles.
She said that quick. She
You
said
got
that
about
quick.
12 minutes.
Oh, okay. So to summarize, you can live your dream. You gotta be ferocious, which means you can't let anything knock you off course. Stay focused, concentrate on your dream, and believe. You gotta believe that this is part of your destiny and this is where you belong. As long as you believe, nobody can stop you. You can do the investment, you can start the business. There are thousands of people who want to help you. You got to go ask the right questions, and you got to go and talk to them. But you can live your dream. You just got to figure out what you want to do and go full speed ahead. So that's it. Any questions?
Yes.
Come on.
You should got the way.
Turn it on.
All right.